joined by Paul Grant, the head soccer coach at East Texas Baptist University. Not only does he coach the men's team, but also coaches the ladies team as well. He has help with some fine assistant coaches. And Coach Grant, last night I ran into you at the Tiger volleyball game against UT Tyler. Matter of fact, the Lady Tiger volleyball team is on a streak right now. And what's your impression of? I'm a volleyball fan, but I'm not a true volleyball fan, but last night that place was loud. I had to leave because it was getting too loud.
What an atmosphere. I mean, that place seems to be soundly set up for that kind of, event. And whenever we get loud, I think people hear us. I mean, and to see the enthusiasm with our volleyball team, and then with the fans bringing what they brought, I mean, I don't think it could have been at a better place last night.
What I enjoyed seeing is, as I was sitting there watching the matches, ETBU beat UT Tyler last night in volleyball, I saw your soccer team come in, obviously from practice. Yeah. Is that volunteer, or do you make them go?
No, that's all on them. I'm proud of some things that we do off the field, and those are things that you hope they would do. I don't need, really, to be honest, know if we even said anything about it after training yesterday. But, both our men's and women's teams were there, and it was, for me personally, I take pride in knowing that they do things on their own, and definitely when it's a positive thing.
Visiting with Paul Grant, the head soccer coach at ETBU. Let's talk men's soccer first. Your Tiger soccer team got its first win on September 20th against Hendrix College in a 2-overtime win, 1-0. Saturday, you had the open date. I asked Coach Ergel what he's going to do on his open date. What does a soccer coach and a soccer team do on their open date? I saw a lot of tweets that day from your players like going, "We don't know what to do. We're not playing today."
Yeah, we worked really hard this week, and they weren't aware of the possibility of getting the weekend off, to be honest. So we'd give them off Friday and Saturday, and had a late training session on Sunday. For the staff and I, we actually watch games. With the high-tech world we're in now, we're able to watch some conference opponents and obviously two teams that we're playing this weekend. So we spent Friday and Saturday taking time to look at those things, and at the same time it also helped us prepare for training this week. I mean, so that was it's one thing to get the scouting report, but it's another thing to actually see something that you're definitely preparing for.
Talking men's soccer here on the ETBU Extra Show. Jason, you had a question for Coach Grant.
Yeah, talking about seeing the upcoming opponents, the schedule gets difficult real quick. You get kind of, fortunately, those games are at home. Talk a little bit about this weekend, who you got, and what kind of challenge that's going to present as far as Concordia and UMHB.
Yeah, on the men's side of things, I think any team in this conference can beat anybody on any given day. And the result last week of Concordia men beating, obviously, Mary Hardin Baylor, it says a lot. At the same time, you take Mary Hardin Baylor, who had a good win against a UT Dallas team. So it's one of those where you put what you can into it. And I guess there's two philosophies. You're going to do what you do well and let them adjust, or try to shut down maybe what they do well. So it's going to be a rough road. Obviously, the best thing is you're playing two games at home. You're playing under the lights for the men. And typically on a Friday and Saturday night, we do have a good turnout. And, again, just like volleyball last night, I think environment is good. I mean, players a lot of times don't want to hear from their coach the rah-rah. It's nothing better when they hear it from their buddy out in the stand or mom and dad. So it will be interesting this weekend, but I definitely look forward to it.
I've heard the roar from the corner soccer field when the team is playing as I'm walking to a football game, and it just erupts when good things happen the Tigers are doing. And I noticed that when I do come to a soccer game, there are a lot of fans, students, and rooting on your team, and that's the neat thing about ETBU is the community aspect. And Coach, of course, you've got some conference games coming up, and Jason, I know you got a better soccer question than me to ask you.
Hey, talk a little bit on the guy front. In the games we've tied, in the game we won, defensively have been stellar. J.D. Perales in goal has been pretty good as well as a freshman, and some younger guys in the back line. Talk about their performance, because looking forward, it seems like you're going to need them to continue to grow and continue to defend well to be able to win.
Yeah, we made several adjustments, really even coming in from last season to this season. Our back line really we probably have 4 to 6 players that can play in the back. Goalkeeper position obviously wide open with Cody Hobson graduating last year, and to have a freshman come in from Kilgore, Texas in JD, and then a transfer come in from Texas Wesleyan in Eric Flores. So, definitely a battle in that spot. But to have players in key positions in the back, like a Jordan Burke, a David Jackson, who didn't play a lot last year, but has come in and worked well with Jordan, and obviously, which has allowed a player like Justin Adams to step and move somewhere else, I believe, even to make us better.
This week, the Tigers are at home at Corner Soccer Field, play University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. The men's team kicks off at 6 p.m. And on Saturday, they play Concordia University, Texas at 6 p.m. Coach, kind of give us a scouting report on the men's game coming up.
Yeah, again, very similar styles of play. Concordia with a new coach coming in from last year, I think is still trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but he's done a good job. Obviously, you can see in his scores that he's had in preseason, and some of the players that actually we may have lost to him. So that'll be a battle. And then you've got Coach Bankhead at Mary Hardin-Baylor, traditionally has teams that compete. I mean, not too long ago they made a good run into the postseason, a Class Act program. His kids will be ready to play, and even more so, I would say, from the angle of last year missing out of the conference tournament by half a point. So they're looking to get things going, and you got the struggle of, hey, Concordia won last week, Mary Hardin-Baylor lost last week, and you deal with that as well. Hopefully you get things taken care of this weekend. You come away with 2 wins, and let them worry about their things, and we go on for us as well.
Kind of refresh my memory, the ASC Championship soccer tournament at the end, the postseason tournament. Remind me who gets in.
On the men's side, it's the top 6 teams, and we have currently 11 teams in the conference. And what happens at the end of the season, the team that wins the conference gets to host the conference tournament, unless there's a tie or both schools win. Hardin-Simmons last year, men and women won, and because of the odd year, the women had to play somewhere else. But typically, not typically, but the team that wins the conference tournament is the team that hosts.
All right, we're visiting with Paul Grant, the head soccer coach at East Texas Baptist University. In a moment, we're going to hear from 2 soccer players, Lady Tiger Amber Pless and Tiger Brian Romero. So let's put a different hat on him. Let's take him from being the men's head coach, and let's put the hat that says he's the Lady Tiger head coach. Lady Tiger soccer doing well on the year. Jason got a question for him, as the Lady Tigers are that's the volleyball record. You know your record.
We're 4-2.
4-2. Okay, 4-2. Jason got a question.
And obviously off to a pretty good start. How do you position them to kind of transition that into conference play? We mentioned very similar to the men, Concordia and UMHB are going to be big tests for us, and they're at home, and they're on Friday night and Saturday night. How do you prepare them for that?
You hope you get it done during the week. I mean, I coach a sport. We don't get timeouts during the game, so it's definitely becomes a player's game. We do things, like I said, we're at the opportunity this weekend to watch film or games of teams that we're playing. So the women are at a point where they understand and know, and you're playing 2 different types of teams, styles of teams this weekend, and that's kind of tough sometimes to prepare for. Mary Hardin-Baylor very direct, but very fast up front, and young and doing well. Concordia, we play very similar, and it'll be more of a finesse type game between the 2 of us. So you have to do the best you can to prepare for both. And so you add or tweak things during the week that you get ready for, but ultimately we also believe that we feel like people ought to get ready for us. And with the women being where they are, obviously at 4-2, and then to be honest, in all fairness, I'm not too sure we could be sitting here undefeated at this point. But, like anything else, sometimes you go backwards to go forward. And the 2 losses this preseason has really helped us to even become stronger.
Now, Coach, the way the schedule's set up in the conference, you play on Friday and you play on Saturday. What are some of the things that you've got to look out for to get them fresh for that next game on Saturday? You kind of tell your players, hey, we got to play again. Make sure you do this.
It's tough, and we're coming back to a schedule where the previous 2 years we played a Thursday, Saturday. So it was a different routine, obviously, having the Friday off. Now it's, I would say this, it's about developing our depth. I don't think at the end of the day we can play 14 players the entire season on the men or women's side and be successful at the end. I think our job as a staff is not only to make sure we create depth, but also we got to go out and recruit the players that can come in and help us. So it's a long season in a short amount of time. And you play 20 games in 2 months. And in a Friday, Saturday schedule, sometimes, we're fortunate this weekend to play at home, to play at 4 and 6. A couple weeks down the road, we're playing at 1 and 3. So it's a different mindset. Like any sport, it definitely is a mentality that you have to have. But, it's tough. But, to me, there's no – you find ways to solve it. You find ways to work through things. And at the end of the day, to get it done because they're playing the same schedule you are.
Visiting with Paul Grant, the head soccer coach at ETBU, talking Lady Tigers soccer. One last question, Jason, for the coach before we bring in 2 players.
Sure, Coach. You talked earlier about the team turning up at the volleyball game last night. I'm sure that was captain-led, or I'm guessing that was captain-led. Talk a little bit about those captains and how they buy into not just ETBU soccer, but into ETBU.
The women do a great job, and I said this to somebody the other day. The women have a program, and for me, a program is probably more so what we do off the field, whether it's showing up at a volleyball game. And by all means, you're right, Jason. That was, I guarantee you're captain-driven. Whether it's anything like that to community service projects, there are a lot of things, I say unfortunately, but unfortunately that our captains do on the women's side that I'm not aware of. And
it should be that way.
Yeah, and then I've got no problem with that. I have to tell you, again, I take pride in that, and hear about it down, after the fact about captains handling certain things, and I think that's great. On the men's side, in all fairness, we're in that process. We're not there yet. And again, the women's program I inherited 8 years ago. Obviously, did things a little different than the former coach in Trey Carlisle. But again, a very successful coach at the same time, and a different philosophy about things. No difference than replacing Coach Alonzo after 19 years. Man, one place, one town. You don't hear about that anymore. But just to come in and tweak and change some things, I will say this, it's not a Paul Grant show. If things go south, that comes on me. But there's a lot of good things that happen that they do, and they do on their own. And those are things that we want the men to pick up, to take pride in. We actually announced last night at our men's training Gustavo Vasquez, adding him as a captain to the men's side. And he and I chatted last night actually after the volleyball game in the office about, hey, these are things we're looking for. And to be honest, it didn't have a lot to do with what was going on the soccer field. It was things off the field, and I think those are the things that really carry and start to build your program and actually, kind of put a stamp on it.
Coach, we enjoy your time with us today on ETBU Extra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget, Tigers and Lady Tiger Soccer in action this Friday and Saturday at Corner Soccer Field. University of Mary Hardin Baylor, 4 p.m. for the ladies on Friday, 6 p.m. for the men. And then on Saturday, Concordia University, Texas at Corner Soccer Field. Ladies at 4 p.m., men at 6 p.m. Don't go away here on the ETBU Extra live from CC's Pizza in Marshall, Texas. We're visiting with 2 players. First from the Lady Tigers, Amber Pless, and then from the men's team, Brian Romero. More to come on the ETBU Sports Extra in just a moment, live from CC's Pizza in Marshall, Texas. If you join us each Wednesday during the lunch hour, you can get the buffet as well as a drink for just $5. Back with more ET Extra in just a moment.
Is the thought of fixing a broken AC